You probably think you've seen every serious candidate. The names feel familiar, repeated, and widely recognized. They show up across headlines, clips, and conversations, until it feels like those are the only real options. But what if that visibility wasn't natural at all? What if some candidates never even had a chance? Not because they weren't there or active, but because you were never actually shown them. Every election seems to follow a predictable pattern. A few names dominate everything you see and hear. They appear across news coverage and social platforms, almost like they emerged on their own, naturally. Meanwhile, other candidates seem to barely exist. You might hear their names once or twice, but they never stay consistently in front of you. They never seem to break through that visibility barrier. It creates the feeling of a clear and obvious field, as if the strongest candidate simply rose upward and everyone else just naturally fell behind them, like the system sorted everything out for you. But visibility doesn't actually happen randomly. It moves through systems most people never notice. Layers of decisions, filters, and performance signals working together to shape what reaches you. Media coverage determines what gets discussed first. Editors decide which stories become the headlines. Producers choose what gets airtime and repetition. And repetition is what builds recognition over time. At the same time, algorithms shape what you encounter. They track what you click, watch, and engage with. Then they prioritize content that keeps you watching longer, not necessarily what gives you the full picture. Which means exposure is constantly being filtered, not just by relevance, but by performance signals. Content that performs well gets amplified further, while weaker signals quietly fade out of view. Campaign resources also play a major role here. Larger budgets expand reach across multiple platforms. More ads mean more impressions and repeated exposure, which increases familiarity whether you realize it or not. Strategic messaging is built for maximum shareability. Short clips, emotional hooks, and repeatable phrases, all designed to travel faster through the system and stay in front of people longer than others. And once a candidate starts gaining traction, the system begins reinforcing that visibility automatically. More exposure leads to more familiarity over time. More familiarity leads to more engagement naturally. More engagement leads to even more exposure. It becomes a loop that feeds itself continuously, keeping certain names constantly in front of you, while others remain outside that feedback loop entirely. Over time, this creates something subtle but powerful, a narrowed version of reality that feels complete. Not based on who actually exists in the race, but based on who consistently appears in front of you. Candidates outside that system start to feel invisible, even if they are active, organized, and competing seriously. They don't disappear in reality or capability, they disappear in visibility and perception. And when something isn't visible for long enough, it becomes easy to assume it doesn't matter, or that it was never important to begin with. That's where perception quietly starts to shift. People talk about what they've seen repeatedly. They support what feels familiar and recognizable. They engage with what seems already established, which means visibility itself becomes a form of influence, not because people consciously chose it that way, but because it was consistently placed in front of them again and again until it felt normal. And over time, that repeated exposure starts to feel like credibility and legitimacy, like those were always the main options available, even if they weren't at the beginning. So the next time you hear the same names again, and it feels like those are the only ones that exist, take a second and step back from that assumption. Were those truly the only candidates available, or just the only ones the system showed you? If you found this video interesting, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss all the deep dives into the systems shaping our world, and the truth behind them that you may not hear every day. And if you know other independent thinkers who want to understand what's really happening behind the headlines, share this video with them. Then help out the algorithm, hit that like button and leave a comment below. Your support helps this channel reach more people. And if this made you think, the next video goes even deeper. Click the video on your screen or return to the Truth Test channel now to see what's happening next.